In the far reaches of the North Atlantic, where the auroras dance across endless nights and icebergs tower like frozen cathedrals, lies the world's largest island, a realm so remote and mysterious that even today, vast territories remain unexplored by human feet. This is Greenland, or as the indigenous Inuit call it, Kalalit Nunaat, the land of the people, a place where ancient traditions collide with modern existence, where the ice sheet holds secrets from millennia past, and where humanity clings to life on the edge of the habitable world. Covering over 836,000 square miles yet home to fewer than 57,000 souls, Greenland represents one of Earth's last true wildernesses, a place where nature reigns supreme and human ambition must bow to the raw power of the Arctic. For thousands of years, this frozen kingdom has guarded its mysteries jealously, revealing its wonders only to those brave or foolish enough to venture into its icy embrace. Today, as climate change rewrites the rules of this polar paradise, Greenland stands at a crossroads, balancing between preservation and transformation, between ancient wisdom and modern challenges. Join us on an unprecedented journey to the last hidden world, where we'll uncover stories that have never been told, explore places few have ever seen, and meet people whose resilience defies imagination. This is Greenland as you've never seen it before, raw, beautiful, and utterly unforgettable. Long before Viking longships ever pierced the Arctic fog, Greenland's story began with people who understood ice the way sailors understand the sea. The first chapter of human habitation in Greenland dates back approximately 4,500 years, when the Sakak people, mysterious Paleo-Eskimo hunters, crossed the frozen channels from what is now Canada, following the migration patterns of caribou and musk oxen. These ancient pioneers survived in one of Earth's most unforgiving environments, armed with nothing more than stone tools, animal skins, and an intimate knowledge of the land that bordered on the supernatural. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Sakak culture vanished mysteriously around 2,500 years ago, leaving behind only enigmatic stone circles and scattered tools that whisper of lives lived in harmony with the ice. They were replaced by the Dorset people, often called the Inuit in Inuit oral traditions, who were described in legends as giants of incredible strength who could lift boulders and hunt whales single-handedly. Modern archaeology has revealed that while the Dorset weren't actually giants, they were remarkably adapted to Arctic life, developing specialized technologies including targeling harpoons and snow knives that would influence Arctic cultures for millennia to come. Around 1000 CE, two transformative events would forever alter Greenland's destiny. First came the Thule people, ancestors of today's Inuit, sweeping eastward from Alaska in an impressive migration that brought sophisticated whale hunting technology and a cultural worldview that would dominate the Arctic. These master mariners traveled in umiaks, large skin boats capable of carrying entire families and their possessions, and brought with them dog sledding technology that revolutionized Arctic transportation. But the Thule weren't the only newcomers to Greenland's shores during this pivotal century. In 982 CE, a red-haired Viking outlaw named Eric the Red, exiled from Iceland for murder, sailed westward into legend and discovered Greenland's relatively hospitable southwestern coast. In what might be history's first real estate marketing scheme, Eric named the ice-covered land Greenland to attract settlers, claiming it would entice people if it had a good name, a strategy that somehow worked. By 985 CE, Eric had returned to Iceland and convinced several hundred colonists to join him in establishing settlements in Greenland. At its peak, the Norse Greenlandic population reached approximately 5,000 people living in two main settlements, the eastern settlement near modern-day Qaqortoq and the western settlement near present-day Nuuk. These hardy Scandinavians built churches, established trade routes with Europe, and even sent walrus ivory and polar bear pelts to royal courts across the continent. For nearly 500 years, Norse Greenlanders maintained their precarious foothold in the Arctic, but their story would end in one of history's most haunting mysteries. By the mid-15th century, the Norse colonies had vanished completely, leaving behind only ruins and unanswered questions. Theories abound, Climate cooling during the Little Ice Age, economic collapse when the ivory market shifted, conflicts with Thule peoples, or simply the unsustainable nature of trying to replicate European farming in the Arctic, but the truth remains frustratingly elusive. What we do know is that when European explorers returned to Greenland in the 18th century, they found only the Inuit, whose ancestors had watched the Norse come and go, and whose oral traditions preserved fragments of memories about the Kavdlunate, the foreigners who once shared their land. Today's Greenlandic culture represents a remarkable synthesis of indigenous Inuit traditions and Danish colonial influence, creating a unique identity found nowhere else on Earth. Approximately 90% of Greenland's population claims Inuit ancestry, yet the cultural landscape reflects centuries of adaptation, resistance, and fusion. The Greenlandic language, Kalaallisut, belongs to the Inuit language family and serves as the primary language of government and education, though Danish remains widely spoken, a linguistic dance that tells the story of the island's complex political history. The art of traditional kayaking, or kajak in Greenlandic, represents one of the culture's most iconic contributions to world heritage. These sleek hunting vessels, originally covered in sealskin and designed for deadly efficiency in pursuing seals and small whales, have evolved from necessity to cultural symbol. The Greenlandic rolling technique, where a hunter could right his capsized kayak using only a paddle or even his bare hands, was developed to survive the frigid waters where falling in meant almost certain death. Today, these skills are preserved and celebrated in competitions where young Greenlanders compete to master techniques their ancestors perfected out of survival necessity. Greenlandic music and dance reveal the soul of a people shaped by isolation and resilience. The ancient drum dance, or kilaat, once served as entertainment, storytelling medium, and even a form of conflict resolution where rivals would engage in drumsong duels, trading satirical verses until one emerged victorious. Modern Greenlandic music has evolved dramatically, with contemporary artists blending traditional throat singing and drum rhythms with hip-hop, rock, and electronic music, creating a sound as unique as the land itself. Artists like Nanook and Nive Nielsen have brought Greenlandic music to international audiences, proving that even in the world's most remote places, creative expression finds a way to transcend borders. The traditional Greenlandic national costume, or kalaallisut, represents hours of meticulous beadwork and sewing, with each region maintaining distinct styles and color combinations. Women's costumes feature elaborate beaded collars that can contain tens of thousands of individual beads arranged in patterns passed down through generations, while men's costumes include distinctive sealskin boots called karmika that are both functional and beautiful. These costumes, far from being museum pieces, are worn with pride at weddings, confirmations, and national holidays, living proof that tradition need not be relegated to the past. Food culture in Greenland reflects the harsh reality of surviving where agriculture is nearly impossible. The traditional diet centers on marine mammals and fish, with seal, whale, halibut, and shrimp forming staples that have sustained life in the Arctic for millennia. Perhaps most controversial to outside observers is the consumption of mattak, raw whale skin and blubber, considered a delicacy that provides essential vitamins in an environment where vegetables are scarce and imported produce costs a fortune. Swarsat, a traditional soup made with seal, whale, or seabird, simmers in pots across Greenland, its aroma carrying memories of countless generations who depended on these foods for survival. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Greenlandic culture is its emphasis on Illimarikatigenek, roughly translating to unity and harmony, a worldview that prioritizes community consensus and social cohesion over individual achievement. In settlements where survival depends on cooperation and where harsh weather can isolate communities for months, maintaining social harmony isn't just cultural preference, it's existential necessity. To understand Greenland's natural majesty, one must first comprehend the sheer scale of the Greenland ice sheet, the second largest ice body on Earth after Antarctica. This frozen monster contains approximately 10% of the world's fresh water, spans 660,000 square miles, and reaches depths of over 10,000 feet in places. If it were to melt completely, global sea levels would rise by approximately 24 feet, redrawing coastlines around the world. The ice sheet is not static but moves constantly, flowing like an incredibly slow river toward the sea, carrying within it ice that fell as snow when human civilization was just beginning. Scientists have drilled ice cores from this frozen archive that reveal Earth's climate history going back 130,000 years, each layer a page in the planet's autobiography. Where the ice sheet meets the sea, nature stages one of Earth's most spectacular performances. Ilulissat Iceford, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, serves as the drainage point for Cermak Kujalek, one of the most active glaciers in the world. Here, the glacier carves approximately 35 cubic kilometers of ice annually, equivalent to New York City's yearly water consumption, creating icebergs so massive they can ground in the 1,000-foot-deep fjord and remain stuck for years. The sound of carving ice echoes like thunder across the fjord, a primordial roar that reminds visitors they are witnessing forces that have shaped our planet for millions of years. Beyond the ice, Greenland's ice-free coast, the only truly habitable zone, presents landscapes that challenge every preconception of the Arctic as a lifeless wasteland. During the brief Arctic summer, the tundra explodes with wildflowers, berries, and grasses that must complete their entire life cycle in the space of a few short months. Arctic hares bound across the landscape, their coats transitioning from winter white to summer brown, while Arctic foxes hunt lemmings in the rocks, their fur providing camouflage that shifts with the seasons. Musk oxen, prehistoric-looking creatures that survived the Pleistocene extinction, graze on lichens and grasses, their thick underwool, kiviot, among the warmest natural fibers known. The waters surrounding Greenland teem with life that defies the Arctic's reputation for sterility. Humpback whales migrate to Greenlandic waters each summer to feast on capelin and krill, their haunting songs echoing through the depths. Narwhals, the unicorns of the sea with their distinctive spiral tusks, gather in pods in remote northern fjords, their tusks actually elongated teeth that contain millions of nerve endings, possibly used for sensing water temperature and salinity. Walruses haul out on rocky beaches in massive colonies, their tusks scarring the rocks as thousands of these giants bask and bellow. The Arctic char, Greenland's most important freshwater fish, navigate between freshwater lakes and the sea, their flesh turning deep red from a diet of shrimp and small crustaceans. Perhaps no phenomenon captures Greenland's otherworldly nature more than the aurora borealis, the northern lights that dance across winter skies. These celestial displays occur when charged particles from the sun interact with Earth's magnetic field, creating curtains of light that seem to move with conscious intention. Ancient Inuit believed the lights were spirits playing football with a walrus skull, while others saw them as torches carried by spirits guiding the recently deceased to the afterlife. Standing beneath the aurora, watching rivers of light flow across the cosmos, one understands why Greenland has inspired spiritual experiences for millennia. In Greenland's remote settlements, some accessible only by boat or helicopter, ancient traditions persist in ways that would astound most modern observers. These communities, often numbering fewer than 100 residents, maintain cultural practices that have been refined over thousands of years of Arctic survival. The tradition of communal hunting remains central to many settlements' identity and survival. When a whale or large seal is caught, the tradition of knife neck, sharing the catch with the entire community, ensures everyone benefits from a successful hunt. This isn't charity but a sophisticated social insurance system where today's hunter becomes tomorrow's recipient, creating bonds of reciprocity that have sustained communities through countless harsh winters. The art of traditional sled dog handling represents another hidden treasure of Greenlandic culture. Greenlandic sled dogs, distinct from other Arctic breeds, are not pets but working animals whose bloodlines stretch back thousands of years. The relationship between musher and dog team embodies deep mutual respect. The dogs provide transportation and hunting assistance, while the musher provides food and shelter. In winter, when sea ice forms, these dog teams provide the only reliable transportation to hunting grounds and between settlements, maintaining connections that would otherwise be impossible. Hidden within Greenlandic spiritual traditions lies a complex worldview that sees the boundary between human, animal, and spirit as permeable and constantly negotiated. Though Christianity arrived with colonial powers and most Greenlanders identify as Christian, older beliefs persist in subtle ways. The concept of Inuit, the spirit or soul that inhabits all living things, influences how hunters approach their work, showing respect to the animals they must kill for survival. Amulets carved from bone, stone, or ivory, though less common now, still appear in some households, connecting present generations to ancient protective practices. The tradition of storytelling, particularly the oral histories passed down through generations, represents an irreplaceable cultural archive. These stories, mixing practical survival information with moral lessons and entertainment, encode everything from navigation techniques to weather prediction to social protocols. Tales of Kivitok, people who flee into the wilderness and gradually transform into vengeful spirits, serve as cautionary warnings about the importance of community and the dangers of isolation. Stories of Sasuma Ana, the mother of the sea who controls the ocean's bounty, explain both the abundance and the unpredictability of marine resources. Perhaps most hidden from outside view is the complex emotional landscape of small community Arctic life, the profound loneliness of polar night balanced against the intense closeness of communities where everyone knows everyone. Mental health challenges, particularly during the dark months, affect Greenland disproportionately, yet communities rally with remarkable resilience, organizing communal meals, coffee parties, and activities to maintain social bonds. The concept of Pekisanermik inulju aquasilinga, roughly, to live with resilience, captures the Greenlandic approach to life's hardships, acknowledging struggle while refusing to surrender to it. As our journey through Greenland's hidden world draws to a close, we stand at a precipice both literal and metaphorical. This ancient land, which has witnessed the rise and fall of cultures, the advance and retreat of ice ages, and the ebb and flow of countless generations, now faces its most uncertain chapter.